Hello, chess beginners. Welcome to the second episode of Learning Chess. And today I will be playing against some other bots on chess.com. I hope you have seen the first episode because we will be repeating some of those concepts. Today I will be playing against Martin, Elani, and maybe Janjay, three of the beginner bots. And with that intro, let's begin. Every chess game is divided into three parts: opening, middle game and end game. And now we are in the opening stage. And one of the key principles, the first principle we saw in opening, control the center. Control the central squares. And usually start with either of these two moves as a beginner. Pawn to e4 or pawn to d4. I will recommend you to go with e4 first. Black responds with e5. What do we do? This can be played. This can be played. This can be played. There are several moves. As a beginner, we will also discuss some of the traps. Taking the queen out early, going for checkmating attacks. But we will get there later. First, let's just develop knights. Again, a knight is better on these squares compared to these ones. Why? Because they control more squares when they are closer to the central region. Okay, black has played a move that I have never seen. Fine. For every move, ask yourself, as we already discussed, what does this move achieve? Controlling these squares. Where did this pawn come from? Here. So it opened up this bishop, also this diagonal. And where did this pawn land? In our knight's attack, although it's defended. But what else is under this knight's attack? This pawn. The whole plan of playing this move was to attack this, and black was supposed to defend it with knight c6, maybe even d6. Black did not. So actually we can take this pawn. However, it's not like an easy win, and you have to be sure once you take, black can threaten this kind of pin. Not really pin, because there are two pieces, but one of them should move and the other one will be pinned. But that's fine, no? And see, black did not consider any of the attacking chances. Simply played a knight move. What did this achieve? Not much. This knight is looking at squares, only two. And this is why they say knights at the edge of the board are not so good. You should be rather developing here. You should be threatening. Now, here is what we saw previously. Always look for checks, captures and threats. Do we have a check? Not really. Do we have captures? This one doesn't really achieve anything, but this capture actually lands into a fork. A fork is what? A double attack. This is a knight fork. You will have a follow-up question. The king will simply take it. However, once you cross this beginner stage in such positions, I will actually recommend you to play such moves. Knight takes f7. The king is forced to come out, or else we either win at least a rook. So knight takes pawn, king takes knight, and then this bishop is coming here, this queen is coming here, and this pawn, which earlier used to be here, is not in the way to guard. and this can be actually a devastating attack, can completely destroy black. However, as a beginner, I will recommend to go slow and build the attack. How do we build the attack? One way I see queen to h5, another way I see bishop to c4, and third way maybe queen to f3. All of these three moves are directing towards this weak f7 pawn. Remember, this f pawn is always weak because it's only supported by the king. All other pawns are guarded by other pieces, except this one. I also told you that do not develop your queen early in the game. So following that principle, I'll be aiming to play bishop c4. Now bishop c4 does create this attack, but you have to check what does this move do. It doesn't do much because our pawn guards the square and we can actually take it. So I'll play this move. Okay, we have a move from black and it attacks the knight, puts pressure on this pawn. As always I say, ask questions. What did this achieve? An attack on this pawn? An attack on undefended knight? What did it lose? Nothing. This queen was not doing much except guarding maybe this square. Where did it land? Not really in our attack. This is an okayish square. So what should we play? We can either defend this knight by bringing it back here or here. We can actually defend it by pushing this pawn. We can ignore all of this and go for this. We can also not make a knight move and rather play bishop takes and give a check. What's the plan? Always look for checks, captures and threats. Currently we don't seem to have much threats. This queen can't be attacked in one move. Actually like this move. This is pretty straightforward for a beginner to play. Why? We are attacking this rook and this rook can't move. So we are winning a rook against our bishop. This is called as winning an exchange. So after this trade we will be an exchange up. Although I would ask you to take a pause and calculate if there are any tricks. I can play here. Black can create an attack, but nothing immediate is coming. I think let's just go ahead with this move. Oh wow, I predicted this move. And always ask what's black achieving. An attack here, there was already an attack here, and black is threatening a checkmate in one. And always remember, everything is important, but everything comes before the king's safety. How do we stop this? One way is put queen here, maybe queen here. But why trade? I would just make a developing move and rather just castle. The rook and king guard this, but black probably doesn't understand the relative value of the pieces. Let's calculate. Queen takes pawn, rook takes pawn, bishop takes rook. Sorry, did I say rook takes pawn? Rook takes queen, bishop takes rook, king takes bishop. Actually I should say takes f2 for all of these four moves. We are gaining 9 plus 3, 12 points of material, losing 1 plus 5, 6. That's a good trade. However, we also need to ensure rook takes lands into a pin, and if there is some other piece, like maybe this rook coming this way, putting more pressure. But it would still be a good move because we could just block this pin by a move like knight pawn to d4. So all this explanation just to make the point that this was a terrible move, this was a blunder by black, and we just exploit it by taking the queen. Bishop takes, and now here you see we are already +8 on material. Okay, first, what was our plan? Our plan was taking this, and now we know there was no real way for black to move this rook. So what did this move achieve? This move actually enabled the rook to move freely, at least here, maybe even here, and black might actually be threatening a pin on our knight. But what do? We go ahead with the plan and just take it, and now we are 13 points of material up. What did this achieve? Attack here, here, and none of them is working. Okay, so let's again think, what do we do? Always look for CCT, checks, captures and threats. We have check, we also have check, and the bishop is already keeping an eye, so I really want to bring my queen out here. Let's go with queen h5, check, and the king moves. And at this point I really want to show you something that I am really tempted to show. This is one of my favorite combinations in chess. And again, same rule applies. Look for checks. The only good check we have is knight f7 check. And this is actually really beautiful. I played knight to f7. The king is forced to come, no other move. And now I am giving a check by taking my knight on d6. And you would think, wait, why? This pawn is attacking, no? But it's not just any other check. Actually, it's going to be 1 and 2. It's going to be a double check. And remember a rule of thumb. Whenever there is a double check, the king has to move. You cannot capture, you cannot block, because both the checks cannot be avoided in a single move unless the king moves. Now, there are only two options for black. Black king can go here or here. And I'm really curious. If black king comes here, this is simply a mate in one. I'm really curious if black king goes there. So I'm going to give a check. And here is the beautiful queen e8, checkmate. I would really love to show an interesting thing here. If there was a rook, let's say at this position, and rook takes queen, then comes a beautiful move, knight to f7, and among all these pieces, the black king would be smothered. This is called as a smothered checkmate. Okay, let's play the next pot, Elani. I would play with black pieces. Oh, Elani also chooses e4. I would recommend to go with e5. Let's get symmetrical. Knight f3 attacks the pawn. How do we defend? I would recommend knight c6. You could play this, maybe even this. do not play this because that blocks the pawn. But this is a standard move and you can actually remember. Okay, d3. What does this achieve? Opens up this bishop. What does it stop? Block actually this diagonal. White isn't threatening anything. We can make a developing move. In a real game, not as an instructive moment, but in an actual game, I would actually push d5 to take further control of center. But let's just go slowly and play maybe knight here. Although now I'm thinking, what if bishop comes and pins this knight? Not really a problem, we'll see. And white does exactly that, pins her knight. Now this pin is not really that annoying because no other pieces is close enough to put extra pressure on this knight. Now here is what to do. Look for checks. Is this good? Not really useful. White can just block. Do we have captures? No. Now we can either make a threat or defend ourselves from a potential threat. This is not actually a threat, but we can defend like this. So here is another concept I would like you to understand, and the concept is called candidate moves. In every position, in most of the positions, I would say, it's not like we have only one best move or something. There are many good moves to consider, and we have to make a plan to decide which one is the one we will go ahead with. So let's consider all these moves. Those are called the candidate moves. h6 is one. Bishop development is another. Maybe I can ignore all this, maybe develop this pawn here, maybe even here. So these are like, let's say, our 4 candidate moves. I think all are fine, but let's just go ahead with development. Develop this bishop, unpin this queen, not queen, but this knight from a potential attack on this queen. Okay, g3, and it seems that white is preparing to bring the bishop here. This is an interesting formation, and it's hard for beginners to break. But if white plays this and castles, we will try to break it. Now again, what are the candidate moves? We can play this or open up. Let's just ask this question. And there comes the 400 level performance. I'm not trying to insult this rating. I'm myself a 400 currently. But when a piece is attacked by a pawn, you either go back somewhere or you either trade. If you go here, no, that would also be a mistake. Why? Take a pause and try to calculate. If bishop h4 was played, I could actually play g5 and trap this bishop. There is no way back, and you have to capture and give up this bishop for maybe 1 or 2 pawns. White just gave this bishop for free now, so I will chop it off. I was expecting a move like knight takes. Did not play. Okay, played c4. Is it threatening something? Attacking these 2 squares, maybe trying to come here. What was it doing? It also opened up this diagonal for queen, by the way. This is a safe formation. There is an opening system called as bot winning system, where you see this in English opening. But let's not get into theory. We are beginners, right? Okay, let's look for candidate moves. I can push this, but that blocks this bishop. I can actually give a checks. Always look for checks, no? I can also make a plan like putting my bishop here and I here. Oops. Then developing knight here and trying to enter from this direction. Will this work? Let's calculate. Bishop here. If pawn comes, we can just take it. We have more attackers on this square than white's defenders. So this and this looks like a plan. I don't see any attack coming from white instantly. I remember that this pawn is hanging, but I did not speak about it because pawn takes. I could play actually rook takes a2, and if my bishop is already here, that would be a good attack. But I need to consider queen h5 as well. If you are beginner and you think I'm thinking too much, no, you have to develop this habit too. Try to go as deep as you can. As a beginner, make arrows just like I'm making. You don't have to visualize everything. So candidate moves 1, 2, maybe 3. I'm not going to castle now, king side. Okay, I will just go ahead with this one. This looks tempting, and white immediately stopped my plan of knight jumping here. Of course, in a real game I would have considered this and not played here. So let's go ahead with the check plan. Now we are materially up, so we discussed that a good strategy is to exchange pieces, and by that I was expecting one of these two knights to block this check, but this is not a good move. King just moved up. Now can you spot a forced trade of pieces? Yes, always look for checks. Knight to d4 actually attacks both of these, and you have to take with the knight. If you don't, I will capture, and the trade is ensured. Let's see what white does. Takes, we take, and we have achieved another exchange. f4 comes. White really is trying to open up. What does this move achieve? Attack on this pawn. Actually, white's pawn are looking quite aggressive now. We need to be careful. And white can actually come this side, and our king side is not really that well defended. I would also consider a move like d6 here, but I'm thinking d6, push, takes. Okay, d6 takes. I have to save my knight. This is annoying. Let me just take this and see what white responds with. Okay, now white actually is down a piece but has really good center. What's white threatening? First of all, this pawn. Second, a move like this, gaining more control on center, kicking our knight away. To stop this is a candidate move. To prevent this is another move. What to do? Okay, let's just not give any pawns for free. Okay, now a question, should we take or not? Usually bishops are considered slightly better than knights, although there is no such clear difference. But since we talked about this rule, no, if we are up material, trade as many pieces as you can, unless you are left with too few to win. And okay, This is guarded. This is a potential threat. I will just defend against that. What does this move achieve? Maybe a push here. Our king is kind of pinned. But in that case, I can take. I will move my knight maybe here. There is no pin because this pawn is actually defending my king from this queen. What to do? Checks. We do have one, but not a good one. That just actually exposes our king more. Captures. We can actually think of this mono. Bishop takes and rook takes because we have two attackers. White has only one defender. So candidate moves. 1. Maybe 2. I think let's just go. We can also plan to castle our king. It's not good at center. Okay. Let me just take. I don't see any immediate threats. But we will. No. Okay. Now, let's assume this rook wasn't here. What would you play as white? As black against white? See, this is an important tip for you to get better at chess, and it's pattern recognition. And as soon as this move happened, my eyes were like, okay, they have lined up in one diagonal and we have a bishop. If this rook wasn't there, I would just play this with support of the knight, pin this king against the queen, and the queen would be lost. So now the next line of thought would be, can I actually move this rook, deflect or distract this rook somewhere else? I don't see a way, to be honest. Now let's think, if I played anywhere, what would happen? Rook takes, knight takes, queen takes. This trade is not actually considered good. Why? Because we are giving up 2 pieces worth 3 plus 3, 6 points, and gaining only one major piece, a rook, worth 5 points. Now another move, I can just simply take here. That would be an exchange. And a third move I'm considering, maybe going with queen to put another defense here. So we will not lose like 2 pieces. But then white can just take. This plan, here is one more tip for you. Do not go for wishful thinking. I will play something and then something will happen. No, always look for your opponent's best defense against that. And hence, as a beginner, let's not get into complications and trade. Takes, queen takes. What's happening next? I think this rook is not doing anything and it's time to develop it. So the best way to develop a rook is to castle your king. Rook comes here, achieves not really anything. We will go ahead with the plan and castle. Okay, these two line up. What are they trying? They are defending this pawn which is not even attacked. Okay, look for checks. 1, 2. Both look decent, but this can be just blocked. The king has already moved from the central original square, so this king can't castle. It's in the center now. This comes with this, and we need to move our queen. We cannot enter, so maybe this would be a better check. Black can guard, but I was thinking of another move again about patterns. You see, The king is here, queen is here, and I see this beautiful knight coming here and here, creating this fork. It's guarded by this pawn, and even if this fork doesn't happen, once the knight comes here, nobody can remove this knight. Why? First reason, there is no piece equal to this knight. White doesn't have any knights or bishops. They have to exchange with a rook or something, and that would be a beneficial trade for us. There are no pawns to attack this square. This is a weak square, and it's guarded by a pawn which also cannot be attacked actually by any other pawn. Such a position is called as an outpost in chess, and my next plan is to put my knight on this outpost and potentially fork the king and queen. White allowed it, so check, and I win the queen. And currently we are 10 points of material ahead, and now it's time to end the game. How? Let's just get in. The rooks are extremely good placed on this file. This move is not doing anything. It's not even an open file. Let's bring another piece into game. Now actually I would like if both the rooks were on this, so I would slide my rook here, maybe attack this guy, and I'm not really into hurrying into taking this pawn or something. Let me just enter, and now I can really attack this king. White is trying to attack our rooks, but is this defended? No. Grab it. And I am actually threatening the checkmate. This is called as a double rook or ladder checkmate. It's called ladder when you actually move your rooks 1-1-1 square and push the king towards the edge. So what's the quickest way to win? Let's bring this. I can bring this from here, but I find a quicker way to just grab this pawn, and I'm threatening a checkmate. This move was very kind of pointless, but there was no good way to actually defend a mate in one. If white had played this and defended this, we actually had this checkmate. So GG. And let's play our third game against the strongest bot in today's list, Janjay. I'll be playing little faster. Opening principle, control the square. I'm going with e4. e5, we can go knight f3 and attack the pawn. Black comes and defend. And this is the Italian opening I really like to play. You can as a beginner also develop your knight to c3, but I like this attack on this pawn. And this is one of the main lines called as Gioco Piano. You don't need to remember the names. Actually, when I play against this, I push this pawn to b4. This is called a gambit, Ivan's gambit. Black takes, I push, black comes a step back, bishop, I push, takes, and we achieve these two central pawns by gambiting this pawn. But I will not recommend you to play it as a beginner, and I will just probably castle. What is black trying to do? Attack this pawn. We can defend it either this way, maybe this way, maybe this way, but it's better to develop knights, no? The position is getting extremely symmetrical now. Push this, and I am also tempted to push this, but I hate symmetries. In chess, you should create some imbalances. Okay, what's purpose of this move? Opening up this diagonal, coming here, creating a pin. I can actually stop that idea by playing h3. I can play a move like this and create an attack of this knight on bishop. I can also try the concept of fried liver here, putting more pressure, but then Blackwood castle. I think this is a decent move to play, attacking this bishop. Oh, and black is allowing me. Now this was not a good idea to trade bishop this way. Why? Because if I take, black is getting doubled pawns, and doubled pawns are usually not considered great in chess. Also, since this take removes the defender of this pawn, I can actually take, but I have to be mindful of the fact this pawn is also unguarded after this move. Actually, I missed that black could take and defend this bishop, but I was anyway hoping for a knight versus bishop trade. I did not realize that I almost lost a pawn. This is why, in mind, calculate everything. Let me take. I'm hoping black to take. Now I have two choices, either to defend or to take. I really like this attack going on, so I'm going for this. Okay. Black defends. Now, again, we are up a pawn. It's good to trade. This pawn gets isolated. And now we think of defending this buddy. I'll just play. Everything is good. This move just put a support on this doubled pawn. So what can we do? I can play my bishop here. I can bring the queen out, but then if black castles, this rook will stare at my queen, and I don't like that. The queen cannot come here or here because of this knight. This knight is a bit annoying. I can think of also trading this. And okay, we have h5. What is this move achieving? Nothing. Maybe attack on this square. Maybe some plans of coming further, but no immediate threats. Here I am considering, okay, do we have checks? No, not a good check. Captures, we have one. Threats, I wish I had this move, but this knight is guarding. Also the queen would just move and it would be pointless. Can I threaten this way? But no, the knight is guarding. So I see this. Also, not every move is supposed to be check or capture. Sometimes you can just make slow developing moves. Like, let's just keep this idea. If this knight moves, this will stay pinned. Nothing is attacking our bishop any sooner, unless this knight comes here. I'm feeling like let's get aggressive and push my pawn here. I have to be mindful of this check, but it's okay, this knight will be defended. We can just move the king out, kick the queen away. Oops, I did a mouse slip. But anyway, this was not a good move either. Okay, we have really good pawn chain here. The rook moved, maybe guarding this, but again, not a good move. I'm thinking of creating this break, pawn break. Break means you are trying to have some pawn trade. What else can we play? I don't see any moves actually, because the position is kind of cramped here. We have to ask some questions. And oops, just as I said that, I landed into this mistake of double attack. Just a move ago I said this pawn is guarding, and I missed this attack. This is why I usually do not recommend you, and I also do not play like this as a beginner. And now black, oh, did not take. and that came as a surprise to me. Well, we saved our piece. Okay, now we have to think where to move this guy. Here, takes. Here, it will be lost. Here, it blocks our queen and rook. Let me just put it here. Looks nice. Let's trade and simplify. This pawn is coming, but this is guarded twice, maybe thrice. Not really worth it. This queen is not doing much here actually, and we can just let it be here. Let's trade, simplify, trade, simplify, and the king is out now. Let's look at checks. We also have this trade and cannot take with the queen because our rook is here, so pawn has to take this. I am also thinking of threats like queen coming here, entering this way. This looks good. Black is actually keeping an eye on this pawn, but you have to notice and understand that pawns are a lot less valuable than the king. The ultimate aim is to win this guy. King goes away. Can I just take? Takes. The queen is still guarding this knight. I could try to pin it this way, but then again the queen can take. Although if I push, I also open up this diagonal, which is why considering moves, look at every change each of your moves is making. What change this move make? It landed into a pin. What changes with this move make? Will land into a defended square, but will also create an attack. And if black doesn't react or save their rook, we can actually take this knight. Take this knight with our pawn. So this is the move of my choice. Black goes back with the rook and saves this, but couldn't save the knight, and the rook comes here. Actually, if black had taken, we could take, and the queen couldn't take because we still have two attackers on the square. So what to do? If I take this will deliver what's called as a discovered check. Checks are good. It opens up our attack. Black takes, and now pause here to spot a tactic. It's called the fork, but not with the knight. Do we have a fork or a double attack here? Again, pattern recognition. Same diagonal and a piece that can enter with support. King goes back, and we simply chop off the queen. Okay, rook comes. Can I just take this? It's not a good move, but takes, and black has nothing. However, why do this when we already have such a good attack? So look for checks. You can check it this way. You can check this way. I actually like this because this is easier to go. But we can also do this way, maybe capture this. Which one should I go? Let's go from here. Check. King was forced to go here, and I play this check. And now, do we have a mate in one? Pause and try to spot it. Yes, you got it right. Queen to g6. Checkmate. Maybe I will just play one more game, but not so slow, and will not explain every move. I will just keep playing fast, controlling center e4, e5, knight f3. We are playing against Jimmy, 600 rated. This is called Petrov defense. I just take and black takes. This move is actually a mistake because it's actually some opening theory. But remember, do not always mirror your opponent's moves because often you can land into trouble. Now you see here, black is just mirroring. But I take, the queen cannot take because I can just take. No. Black tried to attack, and now there is an interesting move. If this queen was here, I could just win it by playing knight here, creating a discovered check and attacking the queen. And if even the queen had defended, we would take, with the knight. But that's too complicated. Now I still have the discovered check, but where should I move? If I move it here, I attack the queen, but the attacked queen can just come here and defend itself. If I play here, the queen cannot come for the attack, but then I don't gain anything. So we are already up material and we do not need to worry much. We can play anything that's decent. So let me try this trick. Okay. Did not fall for it, really. And I don't want to exchange. But I have to exchange because we are all in a pin. Exchange. One of these pawns will take. Okay, I won't prolong this video too much. Bishop is developed. I will develop this pawn. Black would probably castle. This is a free pawn. I'll take with the bishop. Black moves. Let me castle. Doesn't threaten anything. Let me develop again. Create some attacking potential here. This move again doesn't do anything. I will open up this file. Well, bishop can take, and bishop did not take. Let me give a check. Knight blocks, defended twice, attacked twice. So here is a key tip. You should have more attackers than opponent's defender on a square or piece, and then you can attack it further. This is a pin. What's the rule? Put pressure on the pinned piece. Another defense. But I have a move here. I will try to deflect this rook actually. The king moves, but it's still in a pin. Let me just enter. Just gave it for free. Okay, was there a pawn? Yes. Attacking this guy. I'm not worried. This is still under attack. This was a desperate move. I just take. We should not let black king run from either direction. This is covered. Let me just check here. King should move either ways. This is covered. This is not covered though. Let's take here first. This is well guarded. This is also guarded. Maybe a check on the square. Time to bring this piece into game. This rook is not doing anything. Check. And remember, what's the trick of checkmating your opponent? Push towards the edge or the corner. We are controlling this file with the rook. Let's give a check. Maybe here. Check. Now this, everything is controlled by our knights. So the plan is simple. Rook here, here, and here. That's a checkmate. Okay, that was not that much instructional, just for fun. Hope you liked and got something from today's video. Do share your feedbacks. Thank you very much. See you in the next episode.